Gosh, it calls for half. Oh, you're your girlfriend. Oh, she wanted to come over.
Well, now it's Corona.
All right, so now we're doing double teller. So we're just doubling everything. Okay, so you can show her. We're doing look, instead of doing a half a cup of sugar, we're doing a whole cup of sugar, double batch, okay? Then we're gonna take our shortening, Crisco, the blue one. We're gonna open it up. And we're going to...
You only did, what's it called? You two there?
I did 1 cup of sugar. We're doing a double batch.
Oh, so don't you do it together?
I do it double. It's together. It's together.
You just did 1 handful. Oh, it's
Amber, I did a cup. We're doubling it.
It's a
See?
cup.
Okay, now listen. This normally calls for 1/3 of a cup. 1/3 of a cup. We're doing double. So we're going to go a half. We're doing everything double. The cup, because it's hard to manage the measurement then. And what I do is I just go like that. Soft that already. Never put this in the refrigerator, always in the cupboard. Okay, that's it. That's it. So we got. Basically, you're gonna. This is the first thing. All your dry ingredients go together. Always the sugar. Ooh, high tech. High. This camera is high for me. What you're gonna do is until it gets combined. There's no mixes involved, it's all hand. Eventually it all becomes little pieces of putty. Use a high bowl too, so it won't go all over the place. Basically want to get all the sugar together with the shortening. So it kind of looks like this. Next, you're going to do the next thing, which is a tablespoon. We're going to do 3. 1, 2, 3.
No.
Oh, a little bit more. A little bit more because it was short. Okay, that's it. So now we close this up and we continue the next now for the long stretching. Nice and slow. If you're gonna stir from the bottom, friends. Go to the top. You wanna make the flame a little higher? It might be too low. Look. A little low. Look. A little higher. Medium. You gotta get those bones really bubbling. Okay, so now we got, this is the kind of mixture you're gonna have, see? Next we're gonna do the flour, the baking powder, and the salt. All right, so this is a teaspoon again, right? And we gotta do how many teaspoons of all-purpose baking powder? Okay, so now we're gonna do 1.5 times 2 again is 3. Okay, so I usually go like this. I dip it in there, and I scrape it off and make it level. 1, 2, 3. 3 is where it is. And we get the salt. Where?
It's in small we have.
All right, but we're gonna do it. We're doubling it anyway.
Yeah,
so 1/8 equals 1/4. It's important that you do not do the salt wrong, or it will ruin the whole recipe. But for bread, it's okay. So again, I level it off pretty easy. Usually I do 1 at a time. Let me get the other one ready. I could do it later. Okay, so I mix it up a little bit. There's no hand mixing. It's one of those doughs that is effortless. So you just keep kind of like getting it wet. It rolls into itself. Right before that happens, go again. A little messy.
I'm sure actually video recording up to my face.
I don't think Mom wants to do in the video.
Yeah.
Get a lot more.
Okay, there, right? Okay, now we're on our second one.
Oh, the baby's
3.
chilling.
That's number 3. Now see how it gets a little more firmer? We still have one more cup to work in. But it's never going to be smooth. It's not meant to be smooth. It just will eventually become a nice dough, and you got to grab all the side stuff. Okay. It's still dry. And then we have our final one. Final one. This is where the work comes in. I don't really have to work. All I do is go like this now. This is my whole idea. I just kind of like go in. I keep circling the pan. And believe it or not, it all comes together. People don't think it does, but it does. No, I don't forget this stuff. It's important. Watch how it turns. It's like a weird dough. It's not like a bread dough. It's almost like a sticky dough. And then I'll show you when we roll how important that stickiness is. And I just keep going like this now. See how it's becoming more together? But it's so sticky that it grabs all the dry stuff. And again, use this. It's a perfect dough, perfect texture. We didn't use one blender. It's almost impossible. You can't even use a blender for this. Maybe in the professional world, they have a big machine that has the right attachments. So this is what baking's all about, doing it manually at home. It takes the fun out of it then, the machine. And all I do is keep touching it so I see all that flour's gone. See all the flour, how it's all disappearing? The wet stuff is sucking up the dry stuff. It doesn't have to be perfectly mixed, like it just melts away when you cook it. All that stuff combined inside. That's it, basically, see? It's done. See? This is how it's gonna look like when you roll it. Technically, this is a good size. They don't come out too dry when it is size. You know? It looks almost like a tablespoon. Let me see if I had to guess. Yeah, it's a little small in a tablespoon. I mean, you can make them bigger. Some people like them big. I like them small. I got them in between. That's it. So now we're gonna roll them. And sometimes this is the problem. It gets sticky and you can't roll it. So this is what you do. You take a little flour and you just sprinkle a little bit like that. Just a little bit. And you put it in your hands. And you don't even have to mix it at that point. It's like, it'll make it a little easier sometimes to roll. And it might last for a couple of rounds, in other words. You don't have to keep sprinkling it. But if it gets sticky, too sticky, see how nice? Oh, and when you roll it, you don't want to see cracks in it. Like, try to, you can either squeeze them like a meatball. I like to roll them. See how nice? There's not too many cracks in it. That's it. And you know, like I said, it gets sticky. So the more you handle it, the more sticky it gets. It's all about the flour at this point. A little sprinkle. Not too. Don't roll too much because that's when it gets sticky. And you drop it. First time around, you have to grease your pan. You could either use spray pan, but after you spray it the first time, everything after that you don't have to spray for the next ones. Or you could use regular butter and just smear the butter right from the butter. I usually go like this and spray that. And that's it. And once it's there for good. And then right. Got a good street value, this amount. Yeah. Okay, so of course you go by this, 3 cups, you do a 1/4 cup of water, a teaspoon of lemon extract. So basically I'm going to do it my way. I don't follow these directions. I put lemon extract on my own, which we don't have a spoon ready. So I go by the rules with the measuring for the lemon. So this is a 1.
That's not cool.
What? That's a clean mask.
It's a clean mask.
Nobody used that. I wouldn't do that. 2. It calls for 2 to make the frosting, but I like it a little more lemony, so I usually do like 4. That's your own choice. So 4 for a double. So I'm actually doing 1 teaspoon above the normal. 1 teaspoon, I do 2 teaspoons. I like it a little more lemony. And I do that first. Now the water's tricky. The water is definitely tricky. You want cold water.
Use that sink right there. Use that sink.
So basically, you want to use cold water, and it calls for a 1/4 cup. So that means a 1/2 cup. So I just basically do it more or less by eye. I know the consistency that I want. I don't want it loose. So you always introduce the water a little bit at a time, because look how fast it absorbs the, it's amazing how fast it absorbs it, and it makes it watery. And then once it's watery, you can't get it back thick until you put more sugar. And always keep extra sugar on you, because if you run short, there's no fixing it. See how thick it is? It's way too thick. So you a little bit at a time. Trust me, because it's very fine sugar. And look how it shrinks down to nothing. But yeah, it's too thick still. It's okay. You still keep adding water. You can go by the book in the beginning, and you can actually do it yourself just like this. So you do the whole first batch by yourself. And then as you make them more, you start doing your own thing. I just know I like a certain consistency when I dip the cookies. I don't like it too loose. I like it to be a nice icing. It's like you're self-feeding it now. See, that's nice. A tad bit. Now I gotta go really slow. That little tad bit of water makes such a difference. It makes it so much looser. Okay, so now I test one and see how I like it.
We shouldn't drop them on this. Drop on a different board.
Yeah.
Keep dry ones on there.
Taste it. I'm not gonna use the spoon again. That's good to me. Even though I can't taste it. Actually, it tastes so sweet. It's weird. But
Probably really sweet. That's why. Sugar.
Okay, now, new spoon and a place to put them on. Which we got right here. To dry. What am I do? You can do it your own way. You can do it singly. These are a little on the big side. These are, usually they like this when I make them. And see how they crack sometimes? If you don't really, keep rolling, that's okay. It's the cookie. That's what they look like in the real pastry world. And I kind of like, I kind of like tip them on the corners a little bit so that all the edges get frosting. Icing, you should call it. And then I lift them up straight up. This is what I mean. See, this is what tells you how, if it's too thin or not. If it doesn't cling like that and show white, it's too thin. So this is a nice thick, this is nice. Not bad at all. That's good. And just continue to do that. Naturally, you let them dry until they're really dry, and then you put them on your serving platter. But even when they're draining, you're gonna have to, you grab that excess at the end with a spatula and you just throw it back in the bowl. Recycle it, because it's a shame to waste it.
Hey, hold on. Go. Yeah, go.
I come to an agreement in myself that that's the first batch. They're fine, but I know that's how I test my batch. I do a couple. I like it a little more clingier. So again, how do you do that? You have to put a little more sugar back in at a time. That's how other batch we're gonna take out. That's a little more thicker, which is nice. Maybe another more. So when I first put the water to make it looser, I basically could have kept that. But like I said, I like to try it out. It's how you like it. That's all. It's all about how you like it. That's acceptable. What? Now I want to do the next batch.
Oh, the thing went buzzed. It buzzed.
Like, actually, no, feel that. That's a little soft, there's no brown. So I put these on for 10 minutes. And it's anywhere, no, I actually put them in for 10 minutes. It's anywhere from 12 to 15 minutes. I'm gonna add another 2 more minutes to that. The first batch came out at 15. It was a little dark, these are a little dark. I mean, they're good, but see?
I like them
These
dark.
are actually good.
I like
This is
them like
nice.
that.
If they're darker than that, they're hard as a rock. I'll show you the next batch that I prefer them to look like. This is 15 minutes. I'm going to show what 13 minutes looks like.
Good.
It's a little brown. Good.